The single most important factor for business success is not something that you're going to find in a business school course, a leadership development training, a management class, or an entrepreneurship program. And in my experience of over 30 years consulting, I have discovered that there is one thing that will determine the success or the failure of any leader, team, or business, and here's what it is. It's about the energy that someone is carrying. And is that creating a positive reinforcing feedback loop, or is it creating a negative reinforcing feedback loop? And let's use a very simple example to illustrate my point. Take somebody looking for a job. They got laid off or fired and they're on the job market. Now, the first few weeks on the job market, they might be excited. They're out there looking for a job. They maybe get some interviews. But if they're not seeing the success they want or getting past maybe the recruiter stage, they start to doubt themselves. And the more they doubt themselves, the more everybody else starts doubting them. And then they start to feel bad about themselves. And the more somebody feels bad about themselves, the more others feel bad about them. And the more defeated they feel, the more everyone else feels that defeat. And why would you hire someone that's not a winner? And after 6 months or a year, you can see how this negativity starts to spiral and build on itself. And that negative reinforcing feedback loop makes it such that in 6 and 12 months, these fantastic people aren't getting hired, not because they're not great, but because their energy is way off. And the exact same thing is true inside of organizations, whether it's with a leader, a team, or the whole organization. And when you're looking at an organization that needs some kind of transformation, they need to increase success in some way, this is where you can often see these energy patterns at play. Now, let's take an organization maybe on the decline. Why is that? Is it the result of a bad product or bad marketing or not the right financing, or they haven't dealt with management issues or whatever, right? Like, those are all true factors, but what's underneath all of that? It's the energy that happens because of all of those choices. And after time, when a company starts struggling, it's the result of a number of things causing the energy inside of people and teams and the organizations to be off, and it becomes a negative reinforcing feedback loop, and so things get harder and more struggling. And this is often when organizations call me in, Taryn, help me fix it. And the first thing I do when I walk into any leader's office, team, or the organization is I'm looking at the energy. What's the energy inside of the person, the team, or the organization? And what's the feedback loop that's causing with others around them? Is it the right feedback loop, or does it need to be shifted? And in cases of organizational transformation, it's usually a shift inside of everybody that needs to happen, but especially at the leadership team level. And often when the leadership team can shift, the organization can help make that energy shift as well. And I don't even look at stuff like strategy or financing or customer service or marketing or sales or whatever until I can address the energy issue, because that is the most important foundational point to address, because you can fix all the other things, but the energy is still off and you're still going to have that negative reinforcing feedback loop. But if you can shift the energy, everything else can start to shift in a much better place, and that positive reinforcing feedback loop starts to happen and success starts to build on itself. And the great thing is that anyone can, when you look at businesses through this lens of energy, anyone can shift their energy. They can shift it for themselves, and they can help shift it for a team and for the organization. Anyone can do it. And of course, if you need help, I'm always here. Feel free to hit me up in the DM and we can talk more about your project.